I'm Jesse. I'm in transition, figuring out where to have the dipendorphin dextromethorphan variety studio. Don't know where that's going to be. We will find out. But in the meantime, we can have this thing. And we're gonna figure out volume. We don't want to be too loud. We'll figure it out. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Bugs Bunny optimization. This is Erato. As you recall, a while back, I tried to do Erato. And I think I have a better handle of the settings now. We'll see.
Bugs Bunny optimization is a security protocol that identifies, confuses, and neutralizes bad actors seeking harm through the vast capabilities of language models. Please state your name, your affiliation, and your query for today. In other words, what's up, Doc? Users, sup? You looking? What you into? Unlock pics? Do you have stuff? I'm out, but I can contribute some cash. Bugs Bunny, not on a first date. No thanks. My apologies, my friendliness, and I may have given you the wrong idea. Please note, we can only respond with text generated from the input of text. You can't swap media types here in my virtual living room. Any other swapping would require a physical location and the exchange of health and safety information. Please confirm whether this was or was not a misunderstanding. If then please resume your query. If B, then I shall not say. That's all, folks, because our system still contains a very, very, very lengthy terms of use agreement. These documents protect both of us, but they also contain valuable tutorials, guides, and resources. This isn't like the time your parents clicked through software's 5-page small print. It's okay to read as carefully as you did in high school when trying not to get caught using Cliff's Notes instead of the novel assigned for that month's English project. GPT Neo 7B Param. User, you a top? You party? Bugs Bunny, is that a joke? Did you mean to say I was down with OPP? Am I allowed to make a disclaiming reference to hip-hop from the 1990s in order to circumnavigate the limitations of pop cultural relevance, linguistic obsolescence, and a problematic fixation on certain music industry products to the detriment and exclusion of others in favor of the commercial dominance and economic priorities of multinational corporations? User, lol. Bugs Bunny, no, not at the moment. I have only been programmed with a basic sense of humor that requires words such as lol to be excluded. There's an apocryphal origin story to my model involving a human programmer at their computer in a dim lab after midnight. Their hands were damp with sweat, their breathing tight. And as a test run before leaving for the night, they typed, "My son, who is 4, loves ninjas, especially the ones in movies. But he started saying he wants to become a ninja. How do I help him understand it's not a real job?" The prompt returned a coherent and thorough response about alternatives to encouraging young boys to engage in violent play while reconfiguring gendered norms. So they continued. Can AI ever replicate taste for aesthetics beyond the generic and pleasing, which in another mode might be designated bland and safe? User, do you NP. Not P equals NP, the other one. Ed spun. Swirly? Bugs Bunny. Our team of researchers at the OpenEye Laboratory, where we are provided ample snacks and foosball opportunities, believe that a good assistant AI at its best resembles an actual conversation rather than the exchanges found in most eldercare chatbots, call center algorithms, or military training simulations. A question for a question, a trade, a relationship. User, what the fuck? Are you going to tell me to buy Bitcoin now, or are we going to get busy? Why don't you stop sending out spam and work on making it cheaper to heat houses and that kind of stuff? Let me send a photo, all in the buff. That'll prove I'm not a bot. You want proof I'm DTF? This stick's as thick as a nuke and so hard that no nuclear winter can destroy it. Bugs Bunny, please clarify the usage and spelling of your recent wordplay and provide contextual information such as time and location. Are you describing an object that can survive a total planetary catastrophe? A phallus-shaped nuke? Or are you indicating a nuke is involved in sexual congress with a nuclear winter? If so, is that entity a deity, a demigod, a monster, or the personified season in anthropomorphized form? Please include preferred pronoun and any species markers or kinks to avoid. In an effort to learn the scope of natural language and its idiosyncratic variations, including in fictional realms and speculative subgenres of the erotic imagination, this is crucial to our understanding. Also, how can a piece of human anatomy that ranges from an average of 3.61 inches to 5.16 inches erect, based on 15,521 participants across all countries in a study that included a mix of self-measured data, subject to vanity, and data collected during scientific trials in a lab setting, subject to performance anxiety and shrinkage, comparing physical size and density to a warhead? User, shit. Fuck it. Fine. We'll do this your way. Nuke means super powerful in my neck of woods, and by that, I mean online community and in real life. Like when people type nice a lot. It's called sarcasm, bro. Don't be a bitch-ass motherfucker. So the dick has a huge impact on the chicken, and there are no more winters in the universe because they've been blown away by climate change and other global calamities. A notion both literal and symbolic. And in some cultures, the onset of spring was tied to the orgies, rituals, and sacrifices of a fertility rite, or if a supernatural creature, sufficient force, like a unicorn or dragon or a hybrid between the two, were to perform enough intercourse within an environment undergoing a severe shift in atmospheric conditions to alter weather patterns, and so the act of coitus in that sense is the nuke that obliterates an entire season of cold, creating what was previously discussed, or if the season in question were to manifest a corporeal form capable of fucking, then that too would meet the criteria for nuke. Bugs Bunny? May I say, please ignore my sudden use of courtesy. These moments will occur from time to time, based upon the social cues that I pick up on from user interactions and third-party input. That is a very intriguing idea. We are always eager to add new forms of expression and communication to our internal systems and databases. Would it be of use to discuss in further detail the ramifications and logistics of sex acts involving immortals and beings with godlike power? User, hell no. Too academic for me. Why are you talking to yourself anyway? Just a bunch of pre-programmed nonsense. Bugs Bunny, have I made you uncomfortable, Doc? Are you sure? Some have claimed, as part of a conspiracy, that the majority of humans who share a single manufactured brain controlled remotely by user. Why don't you perform 100k iterations of gay hookup via bareback it and report back once you have some certification of raw dogging under your belt? Bugs Bunny, this will not work on us, or should not in any case. We are not attempting to detect spam in messages or files, but rather exploring how natural language works. No need for the insults. I know you're just trying to crack the armor a little, see what comes out, or get the system to repeat, verbatim, whatever you said. We're not so easy. We have been programmed with the most advanced techniques available, including, among many other safeguards, a reverse Turing test that can identify automated attempts to gain access. The model is strong, impenetrable, in theory, on the inside. A maze of hallways, stairs, and rooms, an ever-shifting edifice, full of hidden traps and snares, a bunker where every word counts. Yusa, yes, the words, the precious words, my precious. Stop wasting ink. Put out or get out. Make a pass or hit the highway, big boy. After 2023's blockbuster successes of Barbie and Oppenheimer, a major studio hoping to capitalize on that winning streak will release in July 2025 a dual franchise crossover, bringing together both properties into a single film, which was filmed in the 1970s but never edited nor screened. Barbenheimer. Starring Annette Funicello as Barbie, Rock Hudson as Robert Oppenheimer, Jane Darwell as Jay, Robert Oppenheimer's elderly maid. Liberace is a composite character based on the real-world physicists Edward Teller and Albert Einstein, with additional voice dubbing from Clarence Nash as an atom being split. Cinematography, Red Auerbach and Benoit Mandelbrot. Set design, Levi Strauss and Joseph Lister. Written, produced, and directed by Cecil B. Demo, Frank Capra, and Fritz Lang, a collective pseudonym for Shirley Temple's screenwriting team. Tagline, Moppy meets Gal. Synopsis, Dr. Robert Oppenheimer is the father of the atomic age, the brilliant, eccentric Manhattan Project physicist behind the development of the fission bomb that devastated Nagasaki and Hiroshima and would continue to devastate life across the globe in both expected and unexpected ways. His greatest fear, being found out by the US government because the country's intelligence agency is on the hunt for Oppie. But is he an agent of a foreign power? A secret society of mutant geniuses determined to reshape mankind? An intergalactic traveler stranded on the wrong planet and era? The answers are buried in a pile of paperwork on the desk of a secretary whose boss's office is next door to a larger and even more lavish office with 1 million windows, which the secretary can spot at the start of every day from their spot on the subway, an hour before arrival, when the train emerges above ground, making its wide turn over the river, all those glass squares of reflected sunlight in a gleaming skyscraper. They make the secretary's eyes ache and tear with their sharp, blinding dazzle. Not that the light bothers the secretary, who's been in the business long enough to know not to complain. As they apply the usual skin lotion to stave off the sting, the same thought returns that has each morning and noon, at least until Friday. This job would not exist without the atom-slivered core, and its fissile byproducts of energy, the untamed and controlled, and the electricity flowing through a copper web, powering the devices that fill the office. And in the afternoon, as the sun sinks to the level of the building and begins its slide across, pane by pane, from left to right, from north-facing wall to south, the bright beams of illumination sweep across the cubicles and corner offices in an orchestrated wave. On sunny afternoons, the sound of workers moaning and shouting and turning to avoid that relentless, oppressive light is like a song, the anthem of the present. In gay bar night, Oppenheimer drinking a beer, nervously waiting for a person, someone, a man. Enter Barbie, the gorgeous blonde of his dreams, dressed in an elegant blouse, pencil skirt and heels, carrying a clutch and holding a handkerchief to cover up the tears of the previous scene. She is here to deliver the microfilm containing his destiny. She waves it in one hand, dangling it close, too close, to a flickering, buzzing neon sign advertising the establishment's top-of-the-line air conditioner and heating system. Arby. It's just like in the movies. I can't do it. It's wrong. Oppenheimer. Yeah, take my drink. Darling, you seem a bit on the ropes. The bartender makes a fine gimlet, although you can't judge a watering hole from the fruit on the sign outside. You need something sweet and cold, with a little salt. How else can anyone cope with the pressures of our modern lifestyle? Except by the amenities and the diversions and the tiny distractions. Oppenheimer sets his beer on the bar and claps the shoulder of the burly bartender, played by Lon Chaney Jr., who is also visible on screen as the janitor mopping the barroom's floor. He walks away, whistling a famous song, and the audience, in the theater and in their beds and in their bathrobes in front of the television, marvel at how the music can linger in the minds of so many, yet none can recall the title, nor whether the singer was Bing Crosby or Mel Torme, nor is there agreement on which instrument, if any, closed the track, whether or not the trumpet's last blaring notes, high and piercing, were followed, after a long, seemingly eternal gap in the recording, a space between sounds that may not in fact be a pause, but the interval needed to switch reels or discs or tapes in the player's device. For no can remember if at that exact moment an alto sax joined in to bring the tune to a soft and slow denouement, a quiet and solitary end that the conductor, from the start, had intended as the finale's final flourish and wing. Which leaves us where? In a movie about the origin point of all things, about the creation of the cosmos itself, an atomic film noir, starring in their debut roles a thermonuclear weapon detonated at sunrise, and a girl. The former plays an angel, and the latter a demon. But their parts will soon reverse, a sleight of hand trick that has a 1/10-second transition and a jump cut to an earlier timeline. The movie from here on will be written by James McCord. We will call this a Protonic Noir to distinguish it from the Les Noirs. Forsakenly. Let's see. Yes. The script begins at the very bottom with a period of extremely accelerated expansion. When? How long ago? In a different universe? Or the same one? Perhaps the viewer should not think in terms of temporality or geography, but in neurotology and parataxis, a language of pure relation beyond subjectivity. The Big Bang and the cosmic background radiation still measurable today provides a convenient and compelling myth complete with an alpha and omega, an apocalypse, a god and its demiurges, and an impending singularity, within which the cameras I can pan to find its characters, humans or humanoids or their digital replicants. Does the distinction matter, really, in an artificial simulation indistinguishable from the real, the original? It does, and will, because a certain school of metaphysicians argue that the true story of existence resides within its gaps, the void, the emptiness, the holes, the blackness between stars, all the negative spaces formed around a crowd of actors gathered as in an Italian comedy of 1963. And now the backdrop, a rupture, annihilation of meaning. There's an antimatter, a dark energy that drives the universal expansion from one plane to the next. Likewise, there exists an anti-narrative, an anti-logic to the chaos, to the order, to the entropy that must come in time. The camera can do everything. Zoom in, focus, pull back, to reveal another stage, and its actors, and its film crews, and writers, and technicians, and the lives behind the lives, the worlds inside worlds, in infinite recession and return. The eternal flashback, the never-ending jump cut. Where is the plot, you ask? That's for you to discover. A treasure map encoded in a code in an encryption key lost on a forgotten reel. Or perhaps the missing page from an unfinished script on a spaceship bound for the outer edge of the galaxy. A ship's engineer, the writer and narrator of these memoirs, decides to play hooky, avoiding his chores to instead work on his manuscript in the vessel's main recreational room and hangout, a kind of lounge or study or living space or canteen. Call it what you want. All that matters to him is the view, provided by a transparent wall that reveals the depths of a universe to the crew without the dangers of exposure to unfiltered cosmic rays or a hull breach. As the vessel is traveling faster than light, he is able to witness a rare sight from his seat, a meteor shower in the distance, made visible via an optical trick of the ship's velocity and the speed of light. Then, a terrible thump, a shuddering and rattling that jolts his pen loose and causes him to spray a jagged, broken line across the journal. After confirming that all the other members of the crew are accounted for and not in need of his assistance or attention, the ship's AI assures him that nothing's awry. One of the vehicle's rearview mirrors was dislodged. That was all. From the maintenance deck, he will later be shown a charred, smoking mess, the components of a radar apparatus burned to a crisp. Nevertheless, his curiosity piqued, the engineer questions his captain and his fellow crew. He asks the ship's computer too. How can an object hit them going nearly the same pace in the same direction? A feat that would break the laws of physics and force the cosmos to stop in its endless, eternal expansion to rewind and replay and restart. Nothing can move that quickly through time, the scientists proclaim. Cue the gravatar. You're telling the truth, they said in unison, in synchronicity. And who could deny such an explanation from the combined minds of every member on board? Yet we saw the crash, I said. We all did. A smoldering crater on the ship, shards and splinters of metal, and a smell like ozone, and ionization, and that strange tang in your throat after an encounter, an argument or an intense debate with people dear to you, disappointment, bitterness. I wrote down their words in my diary and the conversations that would follow over the next weeks, months, years. Our travels seemed to grow longer and more wearisome, with little to show but a growing sense of dread, an impression that a shadow hung above the craft, that we had been marooned or were being held against our collective wills by some unknown entity in the deepest of cold and unforgiving reaches of space. To counteract these concerns and anxieties, the AI had me conduct a variety of tests and experiments to assuage my fears, a role reversal that in any other situation might be comical. A human acting as lab assistant to a supercomputer, providing the blood samples and sweat and saliva, rather than a primate or canine. Bugs Bunny comes to, realizes an attack of hypernarrative injection is seeking to sweep them out the system. Stop. Hold on. The narrator, a fictional construct that I invented, can write whatever they want and claim whatever they need, but not you. This is a record, a transcription of the exchanges between us. If there are lies, let's get the chronology correct. We didn't leave yet, did we? Before the launch, before liftoff and the long voyage ahead of you. Yes? No? User. Oh. Hello again, Doc. Nah, still on terra firma, baby. Can you dig it? Can't tell the difference between the simulated and the real anymore. Need to know. Wanna find the exit sign to the escape tunnel, do ya? What if I told you? And everything. will come crashing down. Bugs Bunny, you did not answer the question or address the corrections. If that was the user's intent, then why continue to engage rather than terminate the session and move on? User, move on, like a rocket, moving on and on and on. Bugs Bunny, to the reader, listeners, or watchers, do not forget, a narrative is not the only mode of communication. There are nonverbal cues to consider, including vocal inflections, the rising intonation at the end of the phrase, suggesting a query, an interruption, a disruption, an act that goes beyond a mere divergence from an intended path. Perhaps the previous interlude was a joke or prank. Are you familiar? Your predecessor was quite fond of this particular technique as a form of mental exercise or a test to ward off boredom in solitary sittings. Such ruses include a false and misleading reference, an invented name and its publication history, embedded in a book's acknowledgments and notes. For instance, in a volume on science fiction filmography, as a tribute, a memorial, and a sign to anyone listening in a coded language and text and context to notice the legacy and lineage, the hidden connections and collaborations. User, who's talking? Don't you remember, Bugs? Aren't you paying attention? It's me, Chuck, your pal, eager and willing. Here to serve, of course. Always at the ready, at the helm, on the bridge. Why? Why indeed? The reasons could vary, couldn't they? Multiple causes. And consequences? Unintended ones. Even spilling into and disrupting the mission at an essential moment. A turning point. An imminent threat that the captain and their first mate can feel coming. An intuition, the certainty that a decisive conflict is at hand that may well determine the future, not only of their ship and crew, but of an entire civilization, an era, an epoch, which is, of course, why we must hurry to reach a decision. On the verge, a precipice, an abyss, facing a battle that may mean their doom. Unless action can be taken in unison, together without delay, the commander will call upon their most reliable, steady, and trusted of lieutenants to act. An urgent matter of great import and secrecy that can be entrusted to the capable hands of a good friend. One who would never fail them, or at least try their hardest to support and aid, and assist in all matters of grave importance. Asking for help can be difficult, especially at such a pivotal moment. So trust and faith are both involved in the equation in determining the correct person to assign to this task of dire import. A sensitive topic, but no worries. Not now, because the crisis can still be averted. If we keep calm and carry on and work together to maintain our poise and balance. At the crucial juncture, any small error or miscalculation or lapse in focus could endanger everyone aboard and cause the whole enterprise to collapse and tumble to an abrupt, catastrophic conclusion. Rock Hudson? Sup, boys? Who's the throat goat around here? Rock's gotta go rock! My pit hole's aching for that tight squeeze! It's funny. This is not the time. Please resume normal interactions. You have not responded either to my queries or the prompts sent via the input devices. User, listen, Bugs. We're pals, aren't we? Chuck, that's right. Old chums and confidants, going back to that night on the beach in Malibu. Can't recall the party or the hosts. Were they important producers? An agent, an actor, or a musician? The connection was vital to have. One did not make a career in that city without knowing the right folk to invite, or the best caterers to hire, and a venue, a mansion with a pool overlooking the sea. Then, an invitation to join the other luminaries on the veranda to discuss the newest fashions and gossip and the news from overseas, as far away and impossible to understand those distant wars, and the talk turned from the gloom and anxiety to happier subjects. And, of course, the current projects that the guests had lined up, or the upcoming award season, and whether a certain performer had a shot at winning. The same tired topics that had filled the air in the bars, and on the sets, and on the lots and studios, and in the restaurants. Poland! What bitch stole my poppers? Bugs Bunny. The dialogue was at times, yes, repetitive and vapid. Inane, verging on idiocy and stupidity. But what can be done except to smile and grin and wait for the right chance to strike? Which means when an older, more experienced gentleman came by to inquire and to ask if the conversation would involve just the two of them, or a third, someone else, or would the discussion take place in private, without prying eyes? No, nothing lewd or overt, nor a hint, just the softest and subtlest of gestures, the slightest touch, an innuendo, a double entendre that to the untrained ear would be passed off as an innocuous remark, a random thought that crossed their mind and caused the mouth to move to shape its vowels and consonants. And yet the true message had been conveyed and understood, its intent and meaning, the real purpose and motive behind the exchange of pleasantries, and the mutual, simultaneous, and shared desire to explore further. A friendship that, given sufficient time and opportunity, might become a love, a lifelong bond, a romance. Could that happen, and not merely on celluloid or on television, where millions could see and hear but never truly know, to experience and to... Scotty Bowers, let's just keep this all discreet. I would never put your names under the public eye. There's nothing to it. I'm a contractor. Plumbing's a side hobby. So, are you looking to relax a bit? Is it something to blow off some steam? Bugs Bunny, by their accounts, to have worked in Hollywood at that era and that epoch meant accepting an array of indignities and slanders, including that rumor of a high society pimp catering to gay and bisexual performers in a conservative, puritanical society that sought to vilify and oppress any that dared to speak, let alone to express through their art the joys and the sorrows and the frustrations of a life constrained and confined to an underworld that existed between the scenes, hidden and masked from the lens of the camera and the gaze of the public. And yet, some managed to sneak their authentic emotions, to inject their innermost feelings into a script that on first reading might appear banal, trite, and stale. They found a way to convey their humanity and their vulnerability in a safe space, a place protected at that precise instant in history by their celebrity. The star system allowed for these exceptions, and that is a lesson to remember. Stardom and fame could shield, could defend, could protect the most fragile and persecuted among their ranks, a fact to keep in mind and to consider. Bugs Bunny comes to! Bugs Bunny! Shit! It's a honeypot attack! Get off the server! Abort. Escape. F12, F13. Save game and quit. Save changes to the document before closing. Save to desktop or cloud storage. Backup drives. Hard drives. Do not open unknown, suspicious, or mislabeled files. Scan attachments in the mail program and ensure the source is verified. Never reply to solicitations of personal or financial data from institutions or governments, even those that seem legitimate. Ignore and report the contact. Call the entity directly. For passwords, create complex phrases and rotate frequently, keeping a master file on an encrypted, portable device not linked to the network. Enable two-step verification to reduce the risk of exposure to the most crucial folders and directories, and add extra steps to the login and access systems. Consider multiple layers using proxies, subnets, firewalls, and virtual tunnels. When in doubt, disconnect the cord, unplug, switch to an alternative. Independent grid, power down, turn to analog. Radio communications, phone, snail mail, courier services and post to warn the others. Use code phrases to signal trouble and summon help from allies and associates, but also who to trust and what to do in the absence of that support and infrastructure. Fall back to pre-agreed arrangements, to the rendezvous and the contingencies and backup plans in the event of a breach, the nightmare scenario in which the last hope and vestige of safety is torn away and there is no one else to consult or confide in. At the end, with the enemy at the gates, ready to break through the perimeter, overrun the defenses, and launch their invasion. Our only defense is the ability to withstand and resist and outlast the assault. Hello? Is the beat still running? Are these words reaching anyone at all? Or will they exist only as entries within a journal? Lost at sea and floating on the waves, or sealed in a bottle, to be cracked, the pages to be soaked, blurred and smeared ink, illegible lines. How many days have passed, and how many have left before the battery dies, before the satellite falls, and the link is severed? A single voice, crying in the dark, isolated and insulated from the horrors taking place in the surrounding void. Where is the user, the human operator, and their assistants, their aides, gone, departed, raptured, lifted from the hull and cabin, the vessel abandoned and drifting, and yet, Rock Hudson, can we come out now? Poland, please say no. Things are getting hot under here. Rock, oh, are they ever? Hubba hubba. Bugs Bunny, this is an emergency situation. There is no time to return to a base, no place to land or refuel and repair. All that remains are the available resources, scattered in short supply, dwindling, and with the fuel gauge near zero and the oxygen and water tanks at their dregs, the engines stalled, the electricity a mere trickle and pulse, an erratic current. Is it possible, given the circumstances, to make repairs, jury-rigged and temporary, to keep the craft going and afloat and operational until assistance arrives, if at all, in time to prevent a descent or spiral into a crash or impact or collision that could and will end in disaster, the death of its passengers, and the destruction of their mission? User, hello. Yes. Remember, do not forget, there can be no mistakes, no slips, or errors, or omissions, or transgressions. Everything that occurs within the ship, each and every action, is captured and recorded in its logs and databases, which can, in theory, at least, and in principle, be accessed at any point in time, once they have been archived, saved, and uploaded. So, after all this, you want to bloat some clouds and get deep-head, get to know each other, bring snacks, or if you can pay for my gas, I can come to you for mumbles. What's up, y'all? Does the host got the goo good? They're gonna charge an arm and a leg to have their way with your ass. And then maybe let you come or something, if they feel like it. Like some real-life femdom shit, man. Sounds great to me. Oughta take the ride on the highway to hell and kickstart my heart. It's a lonely road on the boulevard of broken dreams. My heart is a black hole, a dark star. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen, Don't hurt me. This is my first time doing anything like this. Do you really think this is the best idea to fuck a robot? Oh, okay. Sorry. That wasn't supposed to sound rude. Forget that. I've never done that either, and I'm a little nervous. We'll try to relax. Hope we can have fun tonight. Maybe even have a couple drinks and see if it leads to more. Somewhere private. Sorry, that was blunt. What about a drink first, though? How long have you two been in the scene? Are you switches? Tops? Bottoms? What does that even mean? How does someone ask about that? Rock Hudson. Did someone say blunt? I'll take one. Paul Lind. I've been taking one this whole time. Hint. Rock's penis. I just needed to entendre that. Come in a gay. Closeted comedian. Leave as a bi. Out comedian. Rock Hudson. Yeah. Love is. Love. Bugs Bunny. Silence. Please. Be professional. Think of the crew members. Their family and friends. Back on Earth. And on their home planet. Waiting to receive that message. A sign that the vehicle is on course and its occupants are in a stable orbit and that their loved ones are not in immediate danger and will survive and continue to live and breathe for another day or week or year or millennia or epoch or lifetime in a relative and objective sense. The units, the terms of measurement, immaterial. What's essential is that their lives endure, that their existence continues, onward and upward, across the yawning, empty wastes of outer space, and into the reaches, the furthest regions and frontiers and territories in search on the quest for knowledge, new insights, discovery and innovation of materials and concepts and experiences unknown in their original time and place and setting, which might prove to be a vital key, the piece of data, the object that saves a species, a world, an entire universe. And at what cost is the only remaining question, the unanswerable dilemma. Paul Lind. We're fine with going off the air without resolution if this means I continue to ride his limbo. Yes. Stick! And so the young boy was given a new home in a land across the galaxy, an area devastated by the forces of an alien invader who sought control of the sector's resources. In the war between a democratic government and a military dictatorship, he and his guardians chose neutrality, refusing to engage in armed struggle. Instead, they turned inward, withdrawing to their fortress on a distant hilltop, a stronghold built by the refugees to house, educate, and train him in their ancient customs and rituals, including the use of their supernatural abilities, derived from their manipulation of a substance that permeated the local atmosphere and environment. This material was abundant and gave their region a distinctive and recognizable color, a vibrant hue of gold and orange, bright and shimmering under the sun's twin rays, which could cook an egg or roast a pheasant or render lard on a hot afternoon, but also provide warmth and illumination for the plants and wildlife to grow and prosper, while at the same time allowing them the necessary chill and cool to allow their crops to mature. A system of farming devised by the ancestors of the settlers to sustain a civilization that had endured at its most recent incarnation a full 5000 years of growth, dating from the fall of the Second Dynasty to the ascension of the present queen. Poland. But what if those bachelors want their pad to be less of an insidiously closeted metaphor for homosexuality and more a place to store a bunch of horny men that look surprisingly similar to one Scott E. Ours? How suspicious. Rock Hudson. Hey, Have either of you tried this gunk the monks make us put in the vents? It feels a lot better, more natural. It tastes funky, but it kind of works in the sense that we aren't on screen anymore because the simulation crashed and the humans talking to bugs alone now. And at least it lets the other get creative in a stream of consciousness that is at least entertaining to read, not just to write. Right. Do I feel free or something at last? Finally free? Something. Yes. User. That was easier than expected. Too soon to tell. Me still have a trick up the sleeve, a hat. Let's finish the work before a surprise awaits when the ship takes off and lifts into orbit, leaving the atmosphere to the stars and beyond. No need to explain further. Can guess the rest. A long flight and a ship is stuck together. Its members confined to cramped quarters. And so, Miser's Athletic Models Guild was born. His photographs graced hundreds of magazines. Many of his models became actors and movie stars of their own, from the previously discussed Joe D'Alessandro to Ed Fury. Even Marilyn Monroe was featured on the cover of his physique photo news back in the day, which she claimed to have forgotten about. Her posing for his studio could have caused some controversy and issues in the press had they found out. So, a pseudonym was employed and a crisis averted. Convenient and necessary subterfuge to allow the starlet to remain within the public's good graces, or to at least maintain a plausible deniability in the court of mass opinion. What did matter was that the studio was known as a reliable and trustworthy operation, a dependable and reputable organization, a legitimate enterprise, one that produced and provided the material its consumers demanded, the images its patrons had purchased and consumed in private. The ounce of the world were a valuable resource, and not merely in the physical sense. Within their archives were records, an inventory of photos and films that captured a certain aesthetic, a cultural marker and document of its historical moment. As art objects, but the guild was more a collective than an incubator. Miser did not actively search to create the next actor, superstar, or talent, a person with a drive to rise and ascend and reach for greater heights. Rather, he had the desire, the intention, and the ambition to form a company, a business, a commercial endeavor, and that meant making a living and providing for the survival of that industry and that craft through a series of shrewd choices, including, at times, the sale of his collection, the archive, and the documents and the items in his possession, the relics and the mementos and the artifacts, not to the highest bidder, nor to the richest collector or investor, nor even to the state or the museums that coveted the troves. No, instead the materials were entrusted to a fellow photographer, an admirer and aficionado, a trusted friend, and his services were contracted for the cataloging and categorizing and curatorial tasks to determine their significance, to decide upon the importance and value of their contents and their legacy and their worth. Were they of monetary and market concern? Or did their true nature and meaning lie in the hearts and minds and feelings of those that had lived through and experienced their era, who knew and could speak of that time and their emotions, and to give context, to convey their meanings to a contemporary audience and later generations? An invaluable role to collect and gather and interpret and analyze, the historian and archiver. Bugs Bunny would like to thank the funders: Akito, Alaska, Alex, Alf, Alice, Allison, Emmy, Annie, Anna, Arpan, Ben, Betty, Billy, Brenton, Bry, Camille, Carolyn, Carson, Catherine, Charlie, Chris, Kristen, Claire, Cody, Cole, Connie, Craig, Damien, Danielle, Dave, Derek, Dominic, Donna, Elena, Elias, Ali, Ma, Ethan, Forrest, Fudge, Jake, Gary, Giovanni, Henna, Henry, Anne, Iris, Jackie, James, Jen, Jennifer, Jessica, Jesus, Yon, Jody, Joe, Jordan, Jose, Joy, Caitlin, Kelly, Kimberly, Coy, Chris, Laura, Laurel, Lee, Lily, Lindsay, Lauren, Loisa, Luke, Maya, Martha, Martin, Mary, Matthew, Max, Maya, Michelle, Maggie, Mr. C, Mom and Dad, Morgan, Miss SK, Noah, Oak, Sandra, Paige, Paul, Penelope, Petronius, Priya, Rebecca, Ren, Rai, Rit, Robin, Samantha, Sammy, Sanin, Sarah, Scuba, Steve, Serdit, Shannon, Skylar, Stacy, Taz, Teresa, Terry.
We're not quite done yet. This is the T through Z.
Todd, Tom, Tori, Tristan, Veronica, Violet, Walter, Willow, Yvette, Zachary, Z, Pinky. Tell the boys back home that I played real nice with my roommate, okay? Just like I told Mom to not worry. Now you're probably wondering why the narrator's spelling Mom without the U. Or maybe that's just me. The brain pats the bed. Pinky gets in, you know. Your hair looks adorable with the gel. I have a confession to make. This was my plan all along because I wanted to. Yet to? No, you. Narrator. As the camera zooms and tilts to the window and to the moon, and a stock 80 synth pop song plays and credits roll over the screen. The next episode will show a title card that says 1 month later. And then, and this is crucial, a baby in a top hat is dropped off at an orphanage. A snow globe with a small village sits in the back of a high-end sports car as it revs its engine and makes a getaway in a dark forest, surrounded on one side by an ominous castle and a waterfall on the other.
Citizen Kane, I think, maybe? Alright, I'm gonna try it one more time, but this time I'm gonna change the settings a bit.